Hi guys, so this will be the final separation update. Rain has brought to my attention that she no longer wants to be discussed or brought up or mentioned or anything on TikTok or any of my social medias anymore.
They warned us about Noah Brown from Alaskan Bush People, the quiet inventor of the wilderness family, the one who seemed most likely to bridge the gap between the bush and modern society. They warned us he wasn't what he appeared to be on screen, that beneath the calm, resourceful exterior was someone wrestling with his own identity, torn between family loyalty and personal ambition. We didn't listen. We watched as he crafted ingenious solutions to wilderness problems with whatever scrap materials he could find. We admired his gentle demeanor amidst the chaos of the Brown family dynamics. We celebrated when he found love. But all along, there were whispers from former production crew members, from neighbors in Alaska, from viewers who spotted the inconsistencies. Red flags that suggested Noah Brown's story, like much of the Alaskan Bush People narrative, wasn't exactly as it appeared on our television screens. The cost of ignoring these warnings, a fractured family, accusations of fraud, and a reality television legacy built on increasingly shaky ground. But before we dive deeper, who is Noah Brown? Noah Brown is the fifth of Billy and Amy Brown's 7 children, born on July 18, 1992. Known to millions of viewers as the gadget guy or inventor of the Alaskan Bush People clan, Noah distinguished himself from his more boisterous siblings with a quieter, more thoughtful approach to the family's purported wilderness lifestyle. While his brothers Bam Bam Bear and Gabe might be scaling trees or hunting, Noah could be found in his workshop, tinkering with salvaged parts to create everything from primitive washing machines to battery-powered amenities that brought touches of comfort to the family's remote lifestyle. The world of Alaskan Bush People, as presented by Discovery Channel beginning in May 2014, was one of extreme isolation and self-sufficiency. The show introduced viewers to the Brown family, Patriarch Billy, Matriarch Amy, and their 7 children, living in the Alaskan wilderness, allegedly so far removed from civilization that they developed their own dialect, Brown speak, and survived by hunting, gathering, and trading. The family claimed to have lived this way for decades, moving between temporary settlements they called Browntown. The show's premise was compelling. In an age of smartphones and constant connectivity, here was a family choosing to live off the grid, building their homes from the forest around them, hunting their food, and surviving brutal Alaskan winters through ingenuity and family cooperation. The environment was portrayed as unforgiving, temperature drops to minus 60 degrees, potential encounters with bears and wolves, and the constant challenge of securing enough food to survive. The tactile reality of their life appeared harsh, yet liberating. Rough-hewn log cabins with dirt floors that turned muddy in the rain. The smoky scent of perpetually burning wood stoves that kept hypothermia at bay. The calloused hands of a family that built everything they owned. Noah, with his distinctive formal speech patterns and Victorian-inspired clothing choices, became known for crafting creature comforts from discarded items. A hot shower system built from tarps and garden hoses. A generator cobbled together from spare parts. A primitive washing machine to ease his mother's workload. But this world, as viewers would come to question, existed in a complicated space between documented reality and television production. What set Noah apart in the Brown family ecosystem was his methodical approach to problems. While his siblings might tackle wilderness challenges with brute force or impulsive energy, Noah approached obstacles with careful consideration, a trait that earned him the family nickname, the inventor. His edge came from an insatiable curiosity about how things worked and an uncanny ability to repurpose discarded objects into functional tools for bush living. Noah has always been different, his father Billy explained in a Season 3 confessional. Since he was small, he'd take apart anything he could get his hands on just to see how it worked. The difference is, he could always put it back together again, usually better than it was before. This mechanical aptitude translated into what became Noah's signature role on the show, creating solutions that brought modest comforts to the family's supposedly primitive existence. When Amy complained about washing clothes by hand, Noah disappeared into his workshop for 3 days, emerging with a bicycle-powered washing machine constructed from an old barrel, some bicycle parts, and a complex gear system. When his brother Gabe wanted to impress a girl, Noah built a Bush refrigerator to keep chocolate from melting in the summer heat. His method involved a distinctive blend of wilderness knowledge and technical understanding that the show presented as self-taught. Unlike his brothers, who were most often filmed hunting or building, Noah was frequently shown with his nose in unusual books, collecting knowledge on subjects ranging from Victorian literature to basic electrical engineering. This distinctive approach was perhaps most evident during a Season 4 episode when the family needed to move a half-ton generator across difficult terrain. While his brothers suggested brute strength and manpower, Noah quietly designed a system of log rollers and leverage points, reducing the required force by nearly 80%. Physics, he explained simply to the camera, adjusting his distinctive round glasses, is the same in the bush as anywhere else. This moment cemented Noah's reputation as the family problem solver, a persona that would later become both his strength and, according to some, the source of growing tensions within the Brown family dynamic. The first substantial warnings about Noah Brown, and indeed the entire premise of Alaskan Bush People, began surfacing around 2016, coinciding with the show's third season. Local Alaskan newspapers reported that Billy and Bam Bam Brown had pleaded guilty to lying on permanent fund dividend applications, a subsidy paid to permanent Alaska residents. Court documents revealed the family had actually spent significant time living outside Alaska between 2009 and 2012, directly contradicting the show's narrative of uninterrupted bush living. While Noah wasn't personally charged in this case, the revelation cast the first serious doubts on the authenticity of the lifestyle portrayed on screen. Former neighbors came forward claiming they had seen the Browns staying in comfortable hotels during filming breaks. They weren't living in the bush full-time like they claimed, stated Juneau resident Debbie Branson in a 2016 interview with a local news outlet. Most locals knew they would come in for filming and then leave. These contradictions might have been dismissed as television production necessities, but they raised a troubling question. If the Browns weren't really bush people as defined by their own show, who were they really? And was Noah's inventor persona as manufactured as some claimed the family's lifestyle to be? The warnings about Noah specifically began to emerge around 2017 when he met his future wife, Ray and Alicia. According to production sources who spoke to reality TV blogs on condition of anonymity, Noah's relationship created significant tension both on and off camera. There was a real concern that Noah was being pulled away from the family unit, one source claimed, and that didn't fit with the show's central premise of this inseparable wilderness family. Reports suggested that Noah's relationship was causing friction, particularly with his mother Amy and some of his sisters, who allegedly felt Rain was too eager to insert herself into the family business. Fan forums buzzed with observations about Noah's changing demeanor on screen, more reserved with his family, less engaged in group projects, spending more time in his separate living space. Industry insiders pointed to another warning sign. Noah was reportedly negotiating separately with production, seeking more control over his portrayal and possibly better compensation. That's always a red flag in family reality shows, explained television producer Marcus Jennings in a 2018 industry panel. When one family member starts seeing themselves as having a separate brand or identity from the family unit, it creates production challenges and almost always leads to behind-the-scenes conflict. Perhaps the most visible warning came during the family's transition to Washington State following Amy's cancer diagnosis. Eagle-eyed viewers noted that while the show portrayed the Browns living in primitive conditions, social media posts and local sightings placed various family members, including Noah, in nearby towns enjoying amenities inconsistent with their alleged lifestyle. According to a Washington State property database, Noah had secured a rental home with modern amenities while the show continued to depict him living in self-built accommodations on the family's property. Former crew member Thomas Gilroy told a podcast in late 2018, there was growing frustration among some team members about the gap between what was filmed and what was real. Noah in particular seemed increasingly uncomfortable with some aspects of the portrayal. But were those warnings overblown? Were they simply the inevitable grumblings that surround any successful reality show, or were they pointing to deeper issues that would eventually come to light? The reckoning comes on a crisp autumn day in Washington state. The Brown family is gathered in what the show presents as their main house on their mountain property. Cameras capture the tension in the room as Noah stands facing his parents and siblings, Rain slightly behind him, her hand occasionally touching his back in support. The conversation has been building to this moment across multiple episodes, but now it breaks open like a thunderstorm. "I need to live my own life," Noah says, his voice steady but tight. "I'm starting a family of my own now." Billy Brown's face, weathered by years allegedly spent in the elements, tightens almost imperceptibly. Amy's eyes glisten. The siblings shift uncomfortably. "This family stays together," Billy responds. "The family mantra that has driven seasons of television content. That's how we survive." The scene, aired in mid-2019, marked what many viewers identified as the visible fracturing of the carefully constructed Brown family narrative. Noah and Rain soon moved off the family property, establishing their own home away from the mountain compound where the rest of the family continued filming. According to court filings that would later become public, this period marked the beginning of significant contractual disputes between various Brown family members and the production company. While specific details remained sealed, industry insiders reported to entertainment news outlets that Noah was seeking more independence in how he was portrayed and filmed. These behind-the-scenes tensions reportedly coincided with growing questions about the authenticity of the show's premise. In 2020, multiple news outlets reported that despite the show's depiction of the Brown family living in self-built accommodations on their mountain property, several family members, including Noah, maintained separate residences in nearby towns. Property records confirmed Noah and Rain had purchased a home approximately 20 minutes from the filming location, raising questions about how much time they actually spent living in the conditions depicted on screen. Former neighbors from Alaska continued coming forward with accounts that contradicted the family's wilderness narrative. They would come up for weeks at a time to film, staying in the property they called Browntown, claimed Jeff Sanders, whose property adjoined land where the show filmed. Early seasons. But they weren't living there year-round like the show made it seem. Noah and the others would be gone for months at a time. The cost of not heeding the early warnings became increasingly apparent as the disconnect between television portrayal and reality grew more difficult to maintain. Ratings for the show began a slow decline. Social media commentary turned increasingly skeptical, with viewers pointing out continuity errors and evidence of modern amenities just out of camera frame. For Noah specifically, the cost appeared deeply personal. Sources close to production reported growing tension between him and other family members, particularly around the birth of his first son, Elijah, in February 2019, and second son, Adam, in October 2021. According to these accounts, disagreements erupted over everything from parenting approaches to how much of Noah's children's lives should be featured on the show. Noah became very protective of his immediate family, a production source told a reality TV blog in 2021. He started pushing back on storylines that he felt misrepresented his actual life or values. That created a difficult situation for everyone involved. Defenders of Noah and the Brown family point out that reality television by its nature involves production manipulation, and that expecting any reality show to be 100% authentic is unreasonable. "Every show like this operates on a spectrum between documentary and entertainment," explained media analyst Patricia Martinez. "The question isn't whether aspects were staged or enhanced, but whether the central identities of the participants remain genuine." Some fans maintained that regardless of where the Browns actually slept at night, Noah's mechanical aptitude and inventive nature appeared genuine. His innovations, while perhaps not necessary for literal survival as the show suggested, demonstrated real creativity and problem-solving skills. Yet the warnings that had been dismissed years earlier proved prescient. The carefully constructed narrative of a unified wilderness family had fractured under the weight of real-life relationships, growing children, and the inevitable complications of mixing family dynamics with television production. In the aftermath of these revelations and tensions, Noah Brown has established a life that looks markedly different from his early portrayal on Alaskan Bush People. While still appearing on the show in a reduced capacity, social media posts and public records indicate he and Rain have prioritized creating a stable home environment for their children, balancing some aspects of self-sufficient living with the practicalities of raising a young family in the modern world. Noah and Rain now maintain an active social media presence that offers glimpses into their daily lives, a stark contrast to the show's early claims that the Browns were so isolated they rarely encountered modern technology. Their posts show a family engaged in gardening, home improvement projects, and child rearing, while also enjoying conventional amenities the show once implied they rejected. The relationship between Noah and the rest of the Brown family appears to have reached a complicated equilibrium. Following Billy Brown's death in February 2021 from a seizure, family members publicly expressed unity and mutual support. Yet, observers note that Noah and Rain maintain a separate household and appear to make independent decisions about their involvement with both the show and family activities. The dynamic now seems to acknowledge that they're a television family rather than a Bush family that happens to be on television, noted reality TV critic Jason Williams. That distinction has allowed for more authentic portrayals of their actual lives, including the natural separation that occurs as adult children establish their own families. Discovery Channel and the production company have adapted the show's focus accordingly, gradually shifting from the original premise of extreme wilderness survival to a more conventional portrayal of a large rural family facing challenges together, but living largely modern lives. Ratings have stabilized with this more authentic approach, though they remain below the show's peak years. For viewers who followed Noah's journey from the beginning, opinions remain divided. Some express disappointment about what they see as misleading portrayals of the family's lifestyle. "I feel like we were sold a fantasy that wasn't real," wrote one longtime fan on a social media forum. "I wanted to believe in this family living truly off the grid, and Noah was my favorite because he seemed to make that possible with his inventions." Others take a more pragmatic view. "Television is television," commented another viewer. "Noah showed real skills and creativity regardless of where he slept at night. That's what I appreciated about him." What remains undisputed is that Noah has demonstrated a resilience and adaptability that ironically mirrors the wilderness values the show promoted. When faced with the competing demands of family loyalty, television narratives, and his own developing family unit, he navigated a path that prioritized his wife and children while maintaining connections to his birth family. In recent interviews, Noah has spoken about finding balance. "The bush taught me to adapt to changing conditions," he told a regional magazine in 2024. "That's what I've tried to do as my life has evolved." When asked about the show's portrayal versus reality, he offered a measured response. "Television shows a version of life that fits into episodes. Real life is more complicated, with many more gray areas." The question remains, was Noah Brown truly the person we were warned about, or just a young man caught between the pressures of fame, family, and finding his own path in a world that was watching his every move? What do you believe about Noah Brown and the story of Alaskan Bush People? Was he a talented inventor caught in a partially manufactured television narrative, or someone who willingly participated in misleading viewers about his lifestyle? Perhaps like most reality TV subjects, the truth lies somewhere in that complicated middle ground, a real person with genuine skills and relationships filtered through the lens of television production. The story of Noah Brown serves as a mirror reflecting broader questions about reality television itself. In an era where lines between authentic documentation and crafted entertainment increasingly blur, how do we as viewers navigate what's real and what's enhanced? And when talented individuals like Noah demonstrate genuine skills within partially fabricated contexts, how do we separate the authentic abilities from the exaggerated framework? Noah's journey also highlights the universal experience of growing up and establishing independence, albeit under the unusual pressures of television fame. His struggle to define himself, first within and then partially separate from his family of origin, resonates because it reflects a path most of us navigate, though without cameras documenting every step. The warnings about Noah Brown and his family's portrayal ultimately weren't about exposing fraud so much as understanding nuance. Reality television, by its very nature, exists in a space between documentary and drama, neither entirely false nor completely authentic. The Browns, including Noah, appear to have genuine wilderness knowledge and self-sufficiency skills, even if their lifestyle wasn't as extreme or isolated as portrayed. Perhaps the most valuable perspective comes from Noah himself, who seems to have found peace with both his family legacy and his individual path forward. In navigating these complicated waters, he's demonstrated the very adaptability and resilience that made him compelling to viewers in the first place. If you found this exploration of Noah Brown's journey interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the complicated realities behind your favorite television personalities. Share your own thoughts in the comments below, and let us know which reality TV figure you'd like us to investigate next. Thanks for watching, and remember, on television, as in the wilderness, not everything is exactly as it appears.